Oh, good afternoon, Scott Baker, and good afternoon, Ellie Chamber. Nice to see you both.
Excellent. Here we are, Monday, February 2nd, Groundhog Day indeed, although I am not in Pennsylvania today, but sharing in the spirit of Punxsutawney. It is time to talk about today's field note on Lee Better. Thanks to everybody joining us. I could pretend that I'm talking to Mikey and to Ellie. I could also pretend I'm talking to you guys, but the whole point of the field note is that you could be talking to a different audience. Redirecting the message toward a different audience is an unusual headline, and it's an unusual field note, I think. And it says that this is a rare thing for a leader to do. Ellie, do you think it is that rare?
I don't know, Scott. When I read it, I started to think about how many times has this been used on me, and I actually
Yeah,
didn't know. Right? Like we're
yeah,
all doing the
right.
calculation in our head of when did
Mm-hmm.
somebody say something that was really meant for me, but I thought it was like
Mm-hmm.
for somebody else.
I
Yeah,
like it. The basic setup, Mikey, and you have a very fine-tuned emotional antenna for these things. That if the people see through this to what the leader's doing, but you kind of do, right? I mean, you sort of do see it. And basically, it's saying if I come to you and I say to everybody, you know, we don't stand for this in this organization. You people are reprobates. You've done a disaster. You know, then everyone gets defensive. They don't hear things. Whereas if I say, isn't it important for organizations to act this way? Or as an organization, I believe we have critics out there that say this, but I tell them all the time this. So I put it into this other audience that I'm speaking hypothetically to, rather than excoriating my own team. So does that work?
yeah. And as mentioned in the field note, it's really for specific cases. If you end up
Mm-hmm.
doing this a little bit too much, it will feel like you are trying the same tactic that will eventually will force you to lose credibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if it doesn't feel passive aggressive the first time, it'll eventually start to feel passive aggressive. If you
Mm-hmm.
know he's talking about me, why is he talking as if I'm not in the room, right? I'm right here. Go ahead and say it to me, is what I would eventually say.
Yeah.
So, Ellie, your point about I wonder how many times people have used this kind of thing on me and I just wasn't aware of it is kind of the point. Like, that's
Hmm.
like the only time that you should use it. So, I view it almost as a behavior that you might engage in when you want to allow somebody to save face when they might not even realize they need to save face,
I think
right?
that's exactly right, Mikey. And I was going immediately to the save face idea too. And it's really all about how you decide to manage conflict. Because I think conflict has a dual nature, right? Like it can strengthen relationships and drive positive
Mm-hmm.
change. It can also spiral into tension. But conflict really isn't the problem because you need conflict. Great leaders are good at conflict. It's how you conflict that
Mm-hmm.
determines whether it's productive or destructive. So this whole field note is about how you can conflict while saving face
Yeah.
without threatening people's identity, how they think about themselves, and allowing the conflict to be productive by making it about everybody instead of about an individual, right?
Right, and that's a good point, by the way, on conflict, because conflict doesn't have to be a bad thing. In fact, I've always thought that because Ellie's always fighting with me, that's why we have a good relationship. But
Exactly.
yeah, other people may see it differently. So, Mikey, I do think in this setup, even 4 minutes into this for everyone, some people might still be a little bit lost. I don't think I did a very good job setting it up. The field note actually gives a scenario that probably does encapsulate it really nicely. And I think I'm in a place where I have a little more background noise than maybe I normally do near a big
Yes.
airport. Do you want to kind of run us through that scenario?
Right. So consider an example of a startup CEO who
Mm-hmm.
learns that members of his executive team no longer believe in the vision of the company. They believe that the strategy will fail and they're looking to jump ship. So confronting those team members directly will have unintended effects. Like if you're going to
Right.
say to somebody,
The leader gets word on this. Like they kind of get it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
right. And so confronting somebody directly on the idea that I heard you were thinking of X actually makes it worse when a leader does not want them to be put
Mm-hmm.
in a binary choice situation. right? I don't want to say yes or no, tell me whether or not you believe in us, right? Because you actually value their contributions to the team. And even know that there might be a secret conversation going on where they are in high doubt of the way that the strategy is being executed, I actually want them to stay on board. So how do I confront them over the things that they're saying without making it feel as if I'm asking them for a litmus test? I don't actually want a vote of confidence. I just want to be able to directly address the things that they're talking about. And so there's a lot of leaders, this CEO leader that we've made up here, this startup CEO leader might feel like, I don't even know how to say it, but I know they're talking about it. So how is it? And it's more than just one person. And so they might be caught up in a situation where they're like, I need to address it quickly. I don't exactly know what to say, but I almost need it to be discussed among these three people at the same time so that they're actually.
How about this? How about this? Before you deliver the line that the field note sets up for how the CEO does this, Ellie and I will be the co-conspirators that are getting ready to abandon the Mikey ship. Like we no longer believe. So we're going to put on our sort of face reaction, modes here. I don't know what Zoom will let you do that, or what are we in StreamYard today? But pretend like you're explaining it to us, and then we'll just see how we react.
Right. So
like you caught on to us clearly. Yeah. Okay.
So I just gotta understand. I appreciate your loyalty, but I have to presume that there are people who report to you who might have doubts and reservations about our vision. Like what we have talked about and decided might actually need to stand up to some scrutiny of some people on your team. So I'm concerned that it's possible that some of you need to be able to articulate to your team members about our ongoing vision. Their views are not completely without merit. So what I would hope you would say is this about our strategy. How does that sound? Right. And now you have them. Yeah. Now you have them articulating with you, like how it is that you deliver a message to somebody who doesn't believe in it. And so now, Scott, you will be in a weird spot where you will either use this occasion to be like, I actually agree with some of this doubt that you're saying, or I'm getting you to articulate the answer to your own question.
All right. He's on to us clearly, Ellie. And we're sending secret tapping signals. So if you're that person, if you're that leader, Ellie, and Mikey's addressed this to what you're hearing from people in the team, or that people have lost the vision, and what we need to be showing them is this, this, and this. Does just that reaffirmation in this redirected tactic, is that enough to at least get you to reconsider the mindset of where you are?
Yeah, I think you reconsider your mindset without feeling attacked, without feeling uncomfortable, without feeling like it's an individual problem and having a defensive reaction. Like it allows you to suppose or assume, well, if I went back, what could I say? Or what did I say that might have been different, without attacking the individual? Like it gets in your head a little bit, which I think is the intent of the field note, right? To get in your head, to get you to reassess without too much confrontation.
We had Phil in our comment section actually put together a string of questions about this that are actually really helpful and clarifying. But one of the questions he highlighted specifically is that, at what point does redirection stop being tactically smart and really just become disrespectful? Because tying to even previous question, like if I find myself in this position of articulating what the CEO just did, it means that I've made mistakes already. There's been a lack of trust building between the three of us that has resulted that I'm in this troublesome spot. So without belaboring the fact that I've already made mistakes, right? Yeah. With my relationship with the two of you, now I've said it in this way. It's my opportunity to now start to repair it. How many more times can I have this kind of conversation where I deploy that kind of tactic without it feeling like not just he's on to us, but he's on to us and he refuses to really talk directly with us about it, right?
I don't feel like you can do it more than once, right? Like this is like kind of the little
Yeah,
nudge of
right.
like, there may not be some people, and the next step has to be, listen, it's you. It's you. Yeah, I need you to address it. But like you're
Yeah.
trying to avoid the conflict and push them to action. Whereas the CEO thinks if he addresses it directly, it actually may stall. But I feel like you can't do it more than once. This is the little nudge, and then the next comes the bigger elbow.
Well, here's the thing about this. We sometimes see leaders do this. We certainly see politicians do this when it's actually not accurate. It's like it's those who would say, or we know what the detractor, and you're like, that's not what they're saying. Like nobody's actually saying what you're saying. You've set up a straw man that doesn't exist.
Right.
And so sometimes that happens. Now, I do think that there's a value here where sometimes maybe Ellie and I losing faith in Mikey's leadership, and he doesn't really understand the finances and how bad Q2 is going to be, and he just doesn't want to even see it. That there is a chance by doing this that not only are you not making it a point of confrontation, but it is a way for the leader to say, I am thinking about these things. There are a lot of things that I have been, kind of dealing with, and we do have a plan for this. Some of this you guys don't even know yet, but I've been working on this, and I've redone the credit line with the bank, and I've done this, and so there's a lot of exciting things that I think, and and I just met with one of our major, vendors, and there could be all kinds of things you could bring into that without it being like, Ellie, Scott, please come back into the fold, right? I think there's value, there. And I think that we sometimes also have an opportunity, and this isn't exactly what the field note is advising, but we have used this in other areas where you use this to gather help, right? Where you could, as a leader in this situation, say, look, I know there's a lot of people out there that are having doubts, and there is some criticism. And in fact, I've got to go before the board next week. And I've been thinking of articulating it this way. Help me out here. Points, go be tough on me. Like, what are the things I'm missing? And all of a sudden I make you co-conspirators in the good message. Now,
Yes.
I just thought of that in the moment of this conversation. So I don't know if that makes total sense, but it seems to resonate with the spirit of the field note.
It does. And I want to feel forced to be a co-conspirator in the good message at that point. But I don't want to be manipulated. What I really want from you, Scott, is that you understand my argument. And that's where the conversational piece is more important. Phil points out in his comment that ultimately redirection is a broadcast move. It's not actually a conversational move.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're doing the broadcast move as a replacement for what it is that you really need to be saying, and what you as a leader, what I as a leader need to really understand about your colleagues' arguments, then that's where you're doing it incorrectly. Like using the move that way is going to completely destroy your credibility, because at that point, your colleagues just want to be able to know you understand my point of view, and you still are going another direction, which is a completely different idea. It's a wrong-headed move if I think you don't understand my point of view at all. So, that only comes by way of conversation.
But I think there is a warning at the end of the field note in the last paragraph of this should only be used when using direct messages is not going to push honesty underground, or when you can't be direct, redirect, really, is kind of how I read it. It's like, this isn't always the first option, and may not even be the second option. But
yeah, definitely not. Right. No, the first option, we'd actually go back a couple steps and be like, do you have a fully trusted relationship developed with these people that you're going to go into battle with? Right. That's the first step.
Well, and Ellie, you hit something that is a nuance in the field note, that the idea that a leader, that you're trying to avoid false submission, like where you're just getting everybody to go, yeah, okay. Like they're saying okay, but they really don't believe it. You're actually trying to kind of get them to kind of grasp, because ultimately that would be the thing. You actually do want them, by speaking past the room, that's another way of saying a different audience, you do want to kind of come in with a persuasion that causes them to reconsider, to not get defensive, but to actually take the optimistic vision or whatever the thing that you're trying to convince them of seriously. Like it's not like you're trying to trick them into believing something terrible. You're trying to move them in a better way to upgrade their worldview.
You end up doing this when you want to dislodge apathy as well. Like you say something to a room and everyone is just kind of going along to get along. And so you create a hypothetical that says, if you had to choose what is going to go wrong, what it is that you like, everyone seems like they're in agreement, but I actually want some disagreement here. So put on your hypothetical hats of what's going to go wrong. Like that's the same mechanism of what we're talking about here is like, you're redirecting into somebody else's point of view that doesn't exist just so that you could get some kind of feedback.
Just to change the way people are hearing the argument.
Right.
Right. Like that's what was bolded in the field note. I think that's the biggest piece is changing the way people think when speaking directly to them might make them more bullheaded or more stuck in their boots or stuck in what they're thinking is their perspective.
So I think, Mikey, I think after you give your big pitch, I think Ellie is clear-minded enough to kind of take the arguments on their merits, maybe give you a fair shake. I think I will then kind of listen and I'll say, interesting, good points. What is our non-compete policy?
Yeah, right. That's the perfect question. That will completely set me at ease right now. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. All right, thank you both for your time today. We'll talk again tomorrow, and we'll see you later this week as well. I look forward to seeing you guys face to face.
Sounds great.
Dynamite.
Thanks, guys.
All right, bye now.